everybody. Welcome to another episode of halfaclue movie review. My name is Philip J. Lee, and I'm a host. I'm here joined by
Ron. Hi.
And I am Blake, I think. Last time I checked.
the two
ever changing.
The two films we'll be covering on today's episode will be The Fallout, which just recently released on HBO Max, directed by Meganpark in her directorial debut, and Mass, which is also came out last year, is an awards contender mainly for acting and original screenplay. In his directorial debut, Fran Kranz. Both films cover the victims and fallouts of a mass school shooting.
Yeah.
The Fallout covers directly the victims,
The
especially
survivors.
the teens and survivors
Yeah.
of a school shooting, while Mass covers like months later the parents of the victims and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a heavy subject matter. Both films are handle it very delicately or indelicately, as you'll find out in the episode. We'll see based on our thoughts and opinions. And both are very heavy watches. I personally recommend to both films. They're good companion pieces. I think cover both sides of the aisle. It's a hard thing. So the first one we're talking about is Fallout. The Fallout. It follows Veda Cavell and Mia Reed, who are two girls in high school. They just happen to meet each other at in the restroom. Mia is kind of Instagram famous upper class suburban teenager, while Veda is just like middle class regular female who's like kind of quirky and humorous and everything.
Upper LA middle class.
Upper LA middle class, that's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, in comparison to to Mia, I was trying to find distinction. Yeah. To be fair, in LA, if you live like that, it's not that bad. It's actually pretty good.
It's like, that's a little above middle class, I'd say.
Yeah.
But
well, it's, so, and while they're in the restroom, they hear gunshot noises and they hide together in the restroom together as they try to wait out the shooting by one of their fellow peers. And while this is happening, another victim comes in, Quentin, who smashes through the restroom and hides with them after he witnessed the death of his brother. Yeah, and the events of the films just follow pretty much those three, and including Nick, who's Veda's best friend, and their experiences and how they deal with the trauma from such an event.
yeah.
So I saw this film, I think last year in South by Southwest as like a screener copy and stuff. And I was kind of just waiting for this film to come out. And it luckily did. Unfortunately, it was only in HBO Max, but also at the same time, it's probably reaching the widest audience that it could possibly have.
Yeah, I feel like as much as like this film and Mass would we'd love to see them have like a wide film release. I don't know how well they would like draw broader audiences and everything, but I think the streaming platform and particularly HBO Max is like a good spot for this
there's
film.
no arachnoid men's, there's no what's it called, people who have daddy issues and mommy issues and criminals in the dark.
Well, it's HBO Max, so there's a 50-50 chance.
Yeah. Oh, well, for the Fallout, yeah. Let's go.
I'm sorry, HBO Max never fucking works for me. It's like seriously is it going to stream my movie?
Yeah, well, just according to how your voice sounds, it might be your internet quality.
I think so. I think it might just be. Because HBO Max works perfectly fine for me.
I will say, of all the streaming platforms, it is the one that sometimes will offer me the most difficulty.
Have you seen Paramount Plus?
No, thankfully not.
Yeah, no.
HBO Max works better on one of my TVs than it does
on your other one.
So so like my living room TV, it always wants to play HBO Max. My bedroom TV doesn't like HBO Max.
Well, I'll say one is closer to the router than the other one.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably
true.
what it is.
That is
It's
true.
less on the streaming service, more on your internet connection. So enough about our internet issues. Let's go back to the Fallout. What about you guys? What's your exposure to the film? How do you guys know about this coming in, and what were your thoughts coming out?
I didn't know anything going into it. Well, that's not entirely true. I had watched Mass right before I watched this one. Philip just basically said they're companion pieces. Watch them. I was expecting either it to be like, a conversation kind of film, like taking place in a room, or talking about mass shootings and subject matter, and it was. But yeah, they do work together very well. It's one that works like they're two very different films.
Yeah.
This one obviously just focuses on the actual victims or the direct victims and survivors and everything. But overall, I think it was a very well done film.
What about you?
Yeah. So I watched Mass first, so I was pretty confident going in. A movie about like a mass shooting. I liked it. I thought that was mostly in the lead performance. I thought that Jenna Ortega did a really good job, and I generally just liked how I thought she was a really well written character, and yeah, overall I liked it.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's just get into some of our favorite characters and best and worst performances. I think all of us would probably say Jenna Ortega absolutely kills it, Veda. I think.
Yeah, I think she's.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She definitely is the one that like spearheads the whole film. You follow her obviously the most and everything, and I think she was definitely up to the task. It's focusing on. I think they did a good job, or it was the right choice to mainly focus on one of the characters
Right.
and her arc, and then basically being able to feel the other performances like kind of play off of her. And then Mia Reed, played by Maddie Ziegler, I think she did a great job as well.
I think she's I know she's a child actress, but she was recently in West Side Story.
Oh, she was?
Yeah, one of the Sharks' girlfriends.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did not recognize.
Or yeah, is it Sharks or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
she was there too,
Oh.
which makes sense. I mean, both required dancing and stuff like that. So
Actually, that's true. What about you, Blake?
Sorry, what was the question?
what was your favorite performance, and who didn't kill? Yeah.
Would it be just killing it? Would it just be like cheating to say it was Jenna Ortega?
Yeah. Anybody else other than Jenna?
I like the Nick Feinstein is.
No, it's.
Or sorry, Will is Nick Feinstein. I gotta say that man is very handsome. He's got like a gorgeous face, but he's good. I thought that was a really good.
I don't know why for a second. I know it's not, but you guys remember Fred from back in the day? Like he was like Nickelodeon. He had
Yeah. He does have like somewhat similar features.
I was just like, is that Fred? No, it's not. It's not Fred.
No,
Yeah.
he's like 39 years old.
Yeah.
You talking about fucking Fred? Like the hey, it's Fred.
Yeah. I was like, this is like a better looking version of Fred. Yeah. If Fred like became a better actor. Yeah. What's it called? You could kind of see just a little bit, right? Like it took me a second. Like, oh wait, no, it's not.
Fred.
It's not Fred. But I mean, I knew it wasn't Fred. But I was like,
maybe his silhouette. You know?
yeah. But I was like, okay, he has like it's a reminiscence. Like, oh, okay. And then even when he started talking, I was like, okay, but it's not Fred. But
yeah, as far as like worst performances, it's hard to say because I don't think anyone was bad at all.
Maybe the ecstasy guy. I'm just kidding. I don't think he was bad. He was just there.
No, like maybe who?
The ecstasy guy. He's only in 10 seconds.
That's what I say. I was just joking. He's not the worst. I don't think there's a bad performance in the film. It's like everybody functioned as well as they could.
I mean, maybe Lumi Pollock as like the younger sister.
No,
Amelia.
that's Lumi Pollock is the mom. Yeah, Julie Bowen is the
stupid dumb.
No. Oh wait, no, it is Lumi Pollock.
Is,
Yeah,
yeah,
Lumi Pollock is a sister. My bad.
Yeah, you're the stupid dumb idiot.
I know. You're right, Julie Bowen. Julie Bowen is a mom. Yeah.
No, like, and again, that's not. I try not to be too harsh on like child actors.
You know
and
that
stuff.
that's her first movie.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I mean, I think she did like a pretty decent job. Like most of the times, I think just when the more emotional moments had to play out. It wasn't.
You hate children.
As convincing. But yeah, I'm not. That's like again, it's a very light criticism. I think she still did a very good job. But
I agree with that. I think like she mostly pulled off the final emotional scene that between her and Veda, which I really did like. I did like the fact that it was ultimately revealed that Veda was like the one person I called or texted. Yeah, was you. I wanted to talk to you before I died. If I thought I was gonna die, which was. It almost brought a tear to my eyes. I was like, oh no. You wish. You think you get me? My tears are precious.
I am soulless. You don't know.
I know exactly. What's it called? But then, as soon as 3 Spider-Man appear in the film, I'm like, ooh. Just kidding. I did not cry. I wish I did. But yeah, I think that was a pretty powerful scene. I did like that. I like their relationship and how it popped up. What's it called? So let's just talk about also like how the film deals with like all the different aspects of how someone deals with trauma, or all the different facets of like victimhood, and it's particularly an event like this. Like it's with Veda, she's kind of she's a person who deals with trauma by completely ignoring it on purpose, and she feels as if she's overcoming it by ignoring her trauma, ignoring her emotions, by suppressing it. But Mia, she's she's not necessarily ignoring it, but she's just completely withdrawn, separated from the world.
Yeah.
And then you have Quentin, who is kind of like the most measured level of response considering what he went through. He actually lost like a family member in this, and he's like dealing with it from day to day.
No, really, he I think takes it. I think it's the most admirable.
Yeah,
I think of all of them, and it's really I think what it does well is it shows like it's a very honest view of like trauma and again processing it in all their different ways, like you're saying, and but it's like it's hard to say really like what anyone would really have to go through or how they would feel in those moments. But yeah. And then like I'm sure you're gonna say Nick, and his response to it, his activism response is, again, it's a very real response that we've seen that to this day people do respond to it, because unfortunately it is it's a frighteningly common occurrence at this point, how often this happens, and people get mad and people want to do something and act on it, and I'm glad that they showed all 4 of these different types of responses. Yeah.
And without
Nick's response is to like try to make it mean something.
Yeah. And without making it feel like, because everything is through Veda's perspective, it's not scattered. It doesn't feel scatterbrained, the plot or the pacing. It's just like, and it feels like very organic to what's going on, because it's just like how like their perspective on trauma or how they're dealing with trauma affects the way she deals with trauma. And I think that is a smart narrative choice, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And props to Megan Park for doing that, who also played Gracie Bowman on Secret Life of American Teenager, hence the Shailene Woodley cameo. Or I mean, it's more than a cameo. I guess she had 2 scenes.
Yeah. She was integral.
Yeah, she was there as like the therapist, which she did a good job. She did a good job. Yeah. I mean, she was great.
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned it yet, but it took me out a little bit. I was like, "Whoa, she looks so young," and it's like, "Oh no, she's like 30."
Yeah. No, that's how I felt when I got over it after watching Big Little Lies. Have you guys seen that show by any chance?
No.
Yeah, it's season 2.
That's on HBO, right?
Yeah. Season 1 is actually solid. Has crazy Alexander Skarsgård. I was like, when I first watched that and she was like doing a lot of adult things, I was like, this is not the American Teenager. This is not Fault in Our Stars. What's happening? But then I got over it because she's established herself as an actress.
She's older than all of us.
I know she is. She is. She looks younger than all of us combined.
Yeah, right.
He was in the Maze Runner, right?
No, she's not Maze Runner.
No, she's
Divergent.
Yeah.
Divergent. Sorry.
Yeah.
The other young adult.
Maze Runner is I think Dylan O'Brien.
Yeah.
But
whatever.
That's the whole thing. It's young adult. It all deals with this, and then they all make cameos in this film, right? Dylan O'Brien's in the background somewhere.
Yeah. No, but I think Shailene Woodley's character, that Anna, like, she's kind of like the perfect therapist for what Veda is going through, and really like I think what I really like about this is it shows the different support systems and how integral that is for someone dealing with this level of trauma, and like after an event like this, you really do need those people, and sometimes you're not even ready for that, but she develops like throughout the film in what ways to like accept it, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say one of my favorite things in the movie is her like relationship with her mom, because in the beginning, Veda's shut out.
Yeah,
she's kind of like not dealing with her problems, and I really just like that, really trying to be there, but she's not ready to accept. But obviously, by the end of the movie, she is. I don't know. It was my favorite movie.
No, I agree. It's one of those. It's really like important to show that like oftentimes people do lash out or recede or whatever, and it's not necessarily an attack on you as a person or how they feel about you personally. It's just that they're just not on the headspace that's available, and like that's why I give like so much credit to Quentin's character, like, because when Veda is like, she's reaching out to like, she has sex with Mia and everything in a way to like, possibly a way to just like to cope with it or to ignore it and just like cover it. I mean, she's taking drugs, she's like drinking and doing all the stuff that she didn't do before, trying to figure out a way to deal with it. And then she tries to do that with Quentin, and Quentin is like, whoa, like I don't think I'm in the right headspace for this right now. And it's like,
even though he clearly has like some level of attraction.
He even says that he's like I do like you. I think you're very pretty. I think you're like perfect and you're great. And he's, but I can't do that. And it's like, that's incredibly mature. Yeah. And I don't know, like I don't think most teenagers would be that way.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't take the Euphoria or 13 Reasons Why's wry approach. Yeah, even though for Euphoria it works for that show or whatever.
And if anything, it's a slight criticism I have for this film, where I feel like everyone is like almost too understanding, where everyone is a little bit too like supportive and stuff. And it's like I almost wanted a little more hint of like the realism, where it's like sometimes people just don't know how to respond to someone going through an event like this. And
well, we do get that with Nick.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I think it's hard because everything is from Veda's perspective, and she only has
like 2 scenes with
Nick. She has 2 scenes with Nick, and all the other people she interacts are other victims.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Blake?
I was gonna say my biggest criticism of the movie is that I really wanted more. I really wanted more of that. Like, it's really sad to say, but I wanted more of the.
Sorry.
More of the death of.
You cut out a little bit there.
No, I don't know. It's more of Link. That's what you're trying to say, right? Right, Blake?
No, I was saying I wanted more of like their friendship. Sad as that said, I just feel like we don't get to see it enough.
We only had like that one scene with Nick before, but I mean, there's enough there because I mean, he's also the one that helps her.
It is enough, but I think they could have done more.
Yeah.
I know. I agree. I think that it's again like what I'm saying too. It's like
if you had like maybe I don't know, because it is a nice opening. Like, it just gets straight to the moment.
Yeah.
But if you had like a couple of scenes to establish how Veda, Nick, and Mia and Quentin, their life was before the shooting.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I think just throughout the film, again, it's hard to pinpoint where that exactly would go, but like
I think it would have to be before the shooting. Yeah, probably.
No, I was gonna say like afterwards, like the fallout.
You mean the fall? I was saying. Well, I guess like because I mean like as Veda was telling Anna, like her therapist, that like pretty much after, because I mean I think it's hinted that Nick wasn't like he was pretty far removed from like
the actual
event and stuff. I mean he was there in the school, but in terms of like what's it called, Veda and Mia were like very close to the shooting. They were just in the restroom. And Quentin was in the hallway when his brother died. Mm-hmm. And Nick was the one who's
right next to him. I mean, he's literally covered in his blood and stuff. Yeah.
And then Nick was like probably in a classroom.
In a classroom.
Yeah. So I think that's what I think as a result, like because she gravitated towards those two more because of their shared trauma, and Nick is kind of removed in his own little bubble, which is natural. That happens. And she even says it like it sucks. I miss him. I like him a lot, but it's just like that's what happened.
Yeah. I feel like their friendship is essentially over.
Dying.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. I mean, I don't hope there's a sequel, but like, let's just say hypothetically, like in my fictional sequel universe in my head only. Please don't actually make it. Like I would imagine, hopefully, maybe in like 10 years they like reunite or do better. I hope. I do hope for this.
Yeah, and again, I think they would. They seem like they're emotionally mature and everything.
Yeah.
To the point, at least by the end of the film, that they can understand their own. Their own processing moments
where they deal with this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and then it's what's it called? And you give props to Carlos and Patricia Cavell, or John Ortiz and Julie Bowen, who played the most supportive parents ever. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying they're unrealistic, because I know some parents that are very supportive like this. Yeah. What's it called? I mean, she just lucked out really well. You know.
And Mia's parents are like the exact opposite. They don't even come back. It's how the fuck do you not come back?
Because in Europe, making a fuck ton of money.
Yeah. I'm like, that's terrible. But yeah, I'm glad that they show like both ends of the spectrum, where it's like basically Vada's parents, they're there, they're trying to help, they're communicating with her in their own way and trying to like help her process it. And then Mia's parents are just like, you don't have to go back to school, like just stay home, it's fine, we're all over here. And I think they said they were in Japan or something, just like they don't even come back. And it's like that's
they were in Japan and Europe, and because they go all over the place, right?
Yeah, because they're artists.
Yeah. And I do like the fact with with Mia Reed particularly, They even touch on the idea of like we have our social media life, we have our text life, because when they're by the way, really great editing with the text messages. Like pretty much that's like for anyone iPhone users, that's like exactly how we feel when we're texting other iPhone users and like seeing the ... bubble and shit. It's that like how we are when we're in a digital life where there's texting or where the social media where like Mia presents herself as a badass amazing dancer who's fearless and shit, but internally she's just kind of a very withdrawn, shy individual. And I did like that part. Even texting too, like there's a cognitive dissonance with like what they're saying in text to each other, but in reality they're just like they're broken individuals. They're waiting until they both fall asleep. They have their laptops on because they don't feel safe. They don't feel safe alone. That's the thing.
Yeah, and it's like exactly with texting. It's like everyone knows it's incredibly hard to there's so much interpretation open for what you're trying to say.
This is why I like to annoy all my friends by calling them 900 times.
I'm with you on that. I prefer calling. I don't like texting.
Yeah.
Rob runs at the camp. He's like holding it. It's like, oh, I hate callers. I hate this son of a bitch, Philip.
I'm more the shy person. I don't like texting either, but I'm just usually I don't know. I think I'm a little. I feel bad because I'm not. I don't often communicate with people as much as I should. But when people do call me,
you, Ron.
I know. Both you and Philip. You guys.
I never text you.
I know you guys. I never.
This is secretly half a clue. Ron's frustration with callers.
No. It's like, dude. Since I was little, like I remember my cousin would call me on the phone. I'm like, why are you calling me? He's like, just to talk. And I was like, oh. Okay. I was like, I don't know. I'm terrible when it comes to that. I do honestly appreciate it though. But anyways, this is not about me.
Yeah. So, let's go on.
I get it. You're an antisocial and you hate us.
I think one of the other
every time you see your phone ring, you're like, fuck them again.
I think for me, maybe a favorite scene that we haven't talked about, and we'll talk about humor in a bit. But one of my favorite scenes is when they hold on the shot of her opening that little box, and you see all these memorial packets.
Yeah,
and it's
very sad.
And she just constantly puts more and more and more. And I think that's and in a subtle way without dialogue. I was like, wow, that's impactful. Good for her. And this is a first time director. I was like, wow, they trust us without telling us that like if it's like, okay, I don't want to say it. A certain studio likes to be like, this person died, this person died, this person died. You should be sad.
Yeah,
and I'm glad that. She resists that temptation, just has a box of her putting those papers, and that impact is enough.
Yeah,
that was a great way to communicate everything.
I like the moments just where, me and Vada are just like hanging out. Like a lot of their scenes together, I think they were done very well. Just showing how much humans just have that need just to be close to somebody.
Who experienced something similar that they did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Without necessarily having to say anything, just having someone near you who knows what you went through, and that intimacy that's like needed, but also at the same time there's a little bit of distance between them. But again, they have that shared experience, which kind of goes beyond words. Like even the moments again where they're falling asleep next to each other with the phone or with the
phone and the
laptop on. Although I did notice, I was like, it's not plugged in. That thing's gonna die. Your battery's gonna die.
That's the whole point, man. Right? That's the whole point. Right. I did like that.
How about you, Blake? Yeah. Do you have?
What about you, Blake?
Favorite scene?
Yeah, like
just like other than the ones that we talked about. Oh, but let's say don't say the ecstasy scene. We'll talk about that. I think. Yeah.
I don't know. I liked a lot of it. I didn't really like have favorite scene. Let me think for just a second.
Well, we'll get back to you then. Let's talk about some of the tone. I think Megan does interesting things. Like, even though this is a rather, it's covering how people deal with trauma on a traumatic event.
It's very somber, but also at the same time has moments of levity, which is really nice.
So what do you guys think about that? Her injecting humor selectively in certain scenes, particularly the ecstasy scene. Or even with Jenna, just like kind of, or Veda is just kind of like being herself.
I think that's a good move because it's still like even in the face of trauma.
Yeah, I think if anyone who's ever been to a funeral or after like a tragic event or something, there are moments of like humor and where everyone just starts like laughing and enjoying each other's company. Like one of my favorite family moments was after my uncle passed, like we all went to like, you know, a family member's house, and everyone was like laughing and having a good time, but obviously it was just in light of the tragedy, but we were still able to find those moments of like happiness, because it's sad, but it's true that, like, you know, it brings people together.
Yeah.
And and you have to be able to like lift each other up, and a lot of that is like, you know, you deal with it in different ways, and you know, you're not laughing at the situation or what happened, but you're willing to like share these experience and emotions with other people, and it can be incredibly like raw and intense at times, but at the same time, you know, it just it helps create a bridge in, like, you know, being able to move past it.
Yeah. What about you, Blake?
Yeah, I just, like I said, I think it's important because it's realistic. Even in the face of tragedy and trauma, we have those human moments, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Not to like reach too far, but like one of my favorite movies of all time is like. Sorry, am I cutting out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. I had to imagine what your favorite movie is. I'm assuming Teletubbies 3, Return of the Teletubbies.
I was going to say, one of my, not to reach too far, one of my favorites is
Is it Only God Forgives?
No, sorry, I keep cutting out. Fuck. I was going to say, I'm not trying to reach too far.
Let's try to keep the audio as clean as possible, so there's a way we can edit this.
Yeah, no, there's not. I just know this guy who edits this up. No.
I was going to say, I'm not trying to reach too far, but one of my favorites is the Skin, which is like a movie about trauma.
Hold on, you sound like way more muffled right now. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened, but
hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not trying to reach too far, but one of my favorite movies of all time is. I keep putting out right when I'm trying to say it.
Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on. Well, I think we'll just have to move on. Our returning viewers, you might recognize this from Dexter. If our new viewers, you might be like, "Hey, this is cool." What's it called? As for the ecstasy scene, I was almost worried that they were gonna go over the top with that, like a little bit. But then, I mean, at certain points they kind of do. But I'll say this: not to out myself too much, but let's just say I've had, after a certain point in high school, I did take. Yeah,
you experimented.
I experimented. I'll just say I experimented, and I've had. I mean, not exactly like hers, because I'm like a bigger person than, you know, she's small, so probably affected her more. Let's just say I had a very similar moments. Some of them were kind of like that, where I was walking weird. Yeah.
Yeah. But I like that, again, it's still infused with that, like, that tragedy with it, though, because it is like, you know,
just her way of dealing with it.
Yeah, this is exactly, it's her way of trying to process and deal with this and just get through the day at school, because it's rough, you know, and and it almost makes me reflect. Like, I remember back at school, like when I was in high school, there were like these kids that were caught like drinking and, like, you know, sometimes doing drugs like at school, and I was like, why would you do that? And then, like, looking back on it now, I'm just like, they were probably just trying to deal with whatever the hell they were dealing with, you know, and that's rough. So it is have that moment of levity and everything, but when she's like just sliding down the stairs, yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I was laughing a lot.
I thought it was a little over the top.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the reason why I don't is just say I've had similar moments. Yeah, I've had similar moments. I'm like, oh fuck. I would any other time. I'd be like, it's been, fuck. Who am I to judge? And I did experiment for similar reasons. Not saying I was part of a mass school shooting, but like my own thing. But yeah, it was funny. It was relatable, and it was shot relatively well, because it was like shallow focus, right, or something like that. And
yeah,
it's like you had the lens flare as she's like all moving around and she's eating the pen.
Yeah, she's really chewing on the pen and just bursts in her mouth, and she's like,
it explodes.
Yeah.
Why is your mouth blue?
What's it called? And there's one more scene. I didn't love the scene, particularly because I was okay with the scene when I first watched it, but then I watched Come On, Come On. Have you guys seen that film by any chance?
No, not
yet.
There's, you know, the scene where she's with her dad, played by John Ortiz, and they're just like, I fucking hate this. Oh, I mean, redeems himself by being kind of self-aware that she's like, oh, it's kind of corny and cheesy.
Yeah.
But that was, like I said, not one of my favorite scenes, because I think a couple films have done the better. Most recently, Come On, and maybe the way they shot it, maybe like overtly sentimental look, but it's fine. Like it's not bad. Like it's just not one of my favorite scenes. I'll say that.
Yeah, same. It's like I understand.
That's the one that
It's
feels like from a
serviceable.
different movie, almost as if
It's
like everything else
serviceable.
felt. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about some of the technical aspects of it. What do you guys think of Megan Park's directorial debut? Like, how do you think she has a promising future coming for her, or do you think this is like a one and done effort?
So I definitely want to see more from her after this.
Yeah.
I like how she chose to shoot a lot of the movie. I just like the visual aesthetic a lot.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I think she has like a very keen eye, and since she's coming from an acting background, you can tell that she knows how to communicate pretty well with the actors themselves, and she drew some pretty good performances from young actors, which is easier said than done.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's very hard. Dealt with the kid actors before, and I want to just strangle them sometimes. It's like fucking shits. But I mean, to be fair, they're none of those kid actors are really as talented as any of these ones.
This is a very very talented young cast.
Yeah. What's it called? Yeah, I know she pulls the performance really well, obviously as an actress herself. And I think surprisingly, I was very impressed with the visual aesthetics, considering the budget's not super high, right? Like she did the most she could do with what she had, limited space and limited settings.
Yeah, you can tell that it all took place in like
Maybe
just a
3 or 4
handful of settings.
locations.
Yeah, but it gets the best of what it can, and it shoots it all in very interesting ways, which I
She,
think says a lot.
yeah,
Particularly the ending, I want to say that when we talk about when I ask you guys how it is.
Yeah.
But I think that was a very interesting way to do that. And that's a kudos to her and her DP, which was I think Kristen Corell, who I think I couldn't find too many other credits from her, but she's also been doing a lot of freelance work apparently.
Yeah, good for her.
And what about in the editing too? Very simple, very clean, nothing too jarring. It's not like Hasaguchi, where it's just like jump cutting everywhere. It felt smooth, very smooth. There's always cutting on motion, or it always felt emotionally logical of like what scene comes after next.
No,
And-
I agree too. Like I think a lot of films when they're dealing with something traumatic or a character dealing with like a big moment or whatever, it's so easy to like go into those jarring cuts, and that's like seems
Yeah.
like the easy way to do it.
It's lazy. It's the laziest, most obvious choice you could do.
Yeah, but the choice to hold on certain moments
Yes.
and really let the scene breathe.
It has like a
Um,
fluid, dream-like feel and
yeah,
look to it, which
exactly.
is yeah.
because I feel like that lends itself more to how you feel when you're in that numb state, when you feel emotionally drained, when you feel like there's nothing really left, and you're just kind of there, like time just kind of lingers on, and it almost feels dreamlike and surreal, and yeah, I think she really
Yeah.
captured that.
I thought that I just really like the visual aesthetic
yeah.
to create in this.
I think it was I liked it a lot. I can't even say it's a criticism because like considering the constraints on the budget they have, just like this is I think the best they could do with like like the look and stuff, and they do a pretty good job. Like it's almost unnoticeable. And
even the choice, I do really like and appreciate the choice to not show the shooter or not
Yes.
show like the actual violence. It's just
Very
it's literally
effective.
just the fallout. It's all suggestive because we all know what that is and what that looks like, and I think it draws attention to the shooters, and that's the last thing we want.
right,
So,
and like her and I think Denis Villeneuve. One day we'll cover his film Polytechnique. Like I like the way that they always try to shoot from the victim's perspective, and that way it doesn't glamorize, as you say, like
Yeah.
the shooter and stuff. Unlike Elephant by Gus Van Sant, which if we ever cover the film, there's some problems with, I think, because that's also a school shooting film, and I think it was inspired by the Columbine shootings. And that one I feel, and not necessarily glamorizes it because it does definitely take a critical look, but it's almost like very much from the killer's perspective for a good chunk of it.
Yeah.
And I think it works against with what it was trying to do. When this one is, I think it's perfect. It's the right
Interesting.
approach.
Yeah.
And the music, I was surprised. Phineas O'Connell, who is Billie Eilish's brother and producer for all her music,
Oh, I
Yeah.
did not know that.
and he was the composer for this one, and I was like, oh, okay, it kind of sounds like just instrumentals.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's. I was gonna say I liked the music throughout. Like it felt there's a lot of
appropriate
soft.
it fit the cinematography super well. What about you?
Mhm.
Like, what do you think about it?
1 second, I'm sneezing, sorry. I thought the music was okay. I wasn't like blown away by it or anything. I thought the music was okay.
Like, I feel like it was, yeah, it like just subdued like the cinematography.
It was fine.
Yeah.
I thought that it was, to me, if anything, it just heavy music, like heavy subject matter music.
I feel like it added a bit to that. Again, to like the dreamlike state or whatever, like that almost I don't want to say like lo-fi kind of sound to it, but it's very pertinent for today's like, you know, youth.
What they like, but like a sadder version of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that says a lot about younger people and like our the state of mind that they're going through, and having to go through times like this has been a rough couple years. And the fact that movie, that kind of sound and that music has become more and more prevalent. I think a lot of younger people just need that escape and just something to just really relax you. I mean, we are a pretty anxious generation, and Gen Z, I think, is now definitely in that same vein.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, I feel bad for them, man. Just like I feel bad for millennials, it's like I feel bad for Gen Z. It's just it's been rough couple years.
Yeah, it's gonna get weirder as time goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I was actually listening to the soundtrack as I was coming in and stuff like that. Hey, let's get into the ending. I think in an interesting way, like, you know, they resolve a lot of the loose plot threads in the film.
Yeah,
you see Veda kind of overcoming her trauma, and she's actually, you know, reconciles with her family, and she has that awkward but kind of relatable scene with her mom, and she's saying like, "Oh, I had sex with my."
To answer your question, that's my favorite scene.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
to
that's
answer
your
your
favorite
question,
scene.
I love the scene with the mom. I loved it. I love how her mom just starts chugging wine. Is like, okay.
Yeah. Now I'm ready to
And
talk
she has
about
that
this.
She's just like, oh, yes, mom, I did have sex. I've done.
But don't worry, it's not with a guy. It's my best friend, female.
It was with the girl. It was with the girl. Don't worry.
Can't get
I don't know,
pregnant.
great scene.
Yeah, she's like, also I did E and I drank and like did all this stuff. And she's like, all right. It's like, I hope that all parents can have that level of patience with the kid.
Oh, my mother was.
My parents would blow their tops. They'd go fucking berserk.
Yeah, I was like, I'll say this. I joked. I haven't actually like done all the things that she's at that age. I just joked with my mom. I was like, oh, I did cocaine on someone's ass. Like, I joked with my mom.
Would you possibly
I just
say
joked with my mom, like, maybe because I was a morbid curiosity and I had a death wish as a teenager. And Ron knows my mom,
You also
right?
watched Lust Caution with his mom.
Yeah. We just, you know, it's hypocritical of my mom to get mad for me, you know, doing cocaine on someone's ass, which I didn't do. But yeah, my mom flipped out. She had a very opposite reaction of the mom here.
You mean she didn't try to console you on emotional
Yeah,
supportive
she's like,
level
oh,
to be like, why did this happen? Yeah,
like,
what
how
happened?
did it feel when you snorted a line off someone's ass? What's it called? But
no, at the final ending though.
yeah, the final ending, you know, she's actually recovering. She's texting Mia and stuff. And by the way, you know, it's, you know, that scene with Mia when they actually like consummated a potential love. We'll see what happens. I'm curious in like if they're in my hypothetical sequel in universe, they actually continue friendship. I hope they remain friends.
I think they will remain friends. It's just it's anything. They're just again emotionally supportive of each other, and they're probably going to stay. It was close
an emotionally vulnerable moment.
Yeah.
What's it called? But the ending where she receives
notification
that there's another school shooting like in Ohio of like 12 people, and she immediately relapses into her trauma.
It really feels it.
And then the way they shoot it is that like you don't see her, you just see her kind of go off the screen, kind of what's it called? Kind of goes out of focus, and the music plays, and we hear her just crying and having a panic attack.
Yeah.
And I think before I give my response to the ending, do you guys feel like that was the right ending? Was it manipulative?
Yeah,
was it fitting?
1,000%. No, 1,000% the best ending.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's again, it's very. It's real. Again, it's like as much as we grow and we move on and we try to like to grow past like these terrible events, they just keep happening, and that's like the hardest part. It's just that it happens once, it's horrible, and it happens again and again and again, and it's becoming like way too fucking common. And it's incredibly hard to deal with, and especially again for a victim who goes through that and is able to really just heal and try to move past it. Again, it's I can't imagine. I can't imagine what that would be like to have to essentially kind of like, you know, relive it in a way. And
I also thought it was like also kind of an interesting character where she let herself feel emotions.
Yeah,
like,
it shows character growth. Yeah, she's actually like
throughout most of the movie, she's so withdrawn. It's almost like a maturity thing when she feels.
Yeah, like even when she had the soda can incident and she like peed and she was just like trying to ignore it. She's like, I'm being stupid. She's like, I'm being stupid. And blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But then ignoring her, you know, obvious the fear and trauma that she had. Yeah, I think that worked on a one and character level, show how much her character grew and she's willing to accept the feelings. It also shows that, you know, her trauma is almost everlasting.
Yeah.
And also 3, it has that effect of, you know, I mean, also the message of like, this is an enduring problem. It's not going to just end with like 1-2 hour film.
No,
yeah. But also it has that, and I think a really nice effect, which like, because this movie is trying to emulate, you know, reality in some ways. And in reality, we don't have like a nice little bow on the ending, right? It gives you a pseudo bow, but it removes that at the very end with that text.
Yeah.
I think it's very powerful. You guys have any last things you guys want to add to the film?
No, I think, we've pretty much said it all. It's a great film across the board.
All right. Now we will cover Mass. Mass. I mean, no, it's a pretty sad film. It's
I wouldn't be so chipper about it.
Yeah, it's oddly enough, I know people will say that this is a hard film to rewatch, but I've like rewatched it like so many times.
You're a weirdo.
Oh, yeah,
we know this.
I was like, 12 Years a Slave was like my most watched film of like 2013.
Oh my god, dude! I watched that. Yeah, that's.
You watch Caution with your mom.
Yeah. I mean, we were both into spy thrillers, so it was, it worked out. She likes Ang Lee. I like Ang Lee. We share the last name with Lee, Ang Lee. So we were like, yeah, well, how could it be? This is before I knew there were sex scenes in the movie. Even though it had lust in
intensely graphic, long enduring sex scenes.
Yes. It's a callback to our Tony Leung episode. You guys listen to all about that.
Great episode.
Yeah.
What's it called? All right. So for Mass, as we talked about earlier, it covers 4 people, the 2 people, parents of the shooter, and 2 people, parents of the victims, who kind of meet each other like sometime later after the mass shooting incident. Yeah. And they not necessarily confront each other, but they have a dialogue with each other about what happened, why it happened, or just simply of talking to each other.
Yeah.
And it's kind of either overcoming or reconciling somewhat.
It's about like coming to terms with the reality of the situation. And I don't know, I feel like this film really, it's an incredibly tough conversation to have. And I think this film found a really good balance of like tackling a lot of those questions and the issues that I think a lot of people have when something like this happens, when when a shooter, when it's typically like a high school kid, rarely sometimes like a college kid or something. Everyone looks at the parents on both sides of the aisle, where it's like, you feel incredibly bad for the victims' families and their loss, but also you look at the parents of the shooter, and there's a lot of finger pointing and anger and understandable like emotions that is directed at the parents, and you want to know why. And those are the big questions of like, how could you let this happen?
Yeah.
What, like, how could this possibly have slipped by, And so I commend this film for even trying to like even have that conversation.
Yeah.
Literally having a conversation about it.
This is in real time. What about you, Blake, before I get into my opinion?
No, I liked it a lot. I thought the dialogue was great. It's definitely a performance movie too, where all of the performances were great. Overall, just really good. Felt like a stage play in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, I think that was one of the original versions of this. Like he the writer director.
Yeah, he was thinking about turning into a play, but he turned it back into a film and stuff like that. I could see this being a play, actually.
Yeah, no,
for sure,
definitely. It's I think Fran Kranz coming at it from like again another actor doing this, and you can definitely see that this is an actor's movie, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, everyone gets their moment to really just let it out, and I think this was all shot in like 10 days, or actually all the dialogue scenes were shot over 10 days, right?
Yeah.
which is like, I think that was probably by request. One, because I'm sure that this seems like an extremely low budget film and everything, but also I can't imagine how emotionally exhausting it is to do that, even over 10 days. But like,
and also kudos to the actors, because there's some scenes where just them on the camera for like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, for them to not break character, not miss a single beat, to also act their ass off, but also at the same time, remember all the dialogue.
Yeah.
And doing it within 10 days, kudos to them. Bravo to everybody.
Yeah, no, round of applause, dude. Again, because like I've seen like you know, behind the scenes footage of like in like the end of the Lord of the Rings films, like when the hobbits are saying goodbye to each other, and all the actors were talking about how difficult it was to just to do like a day or two of them, like, you know, saying goodbye and all the emotions and the crying and everything. It's like, that's rough. And it's like a film like this where they're tackling so many different issues.
Rough.
Yeah, the entire film and all of their dialogue and everything. There's so much like subtext.
It's a performance movie for sure.
Yeah,
it's performances carry it.
All the dialogue, everything that they're saying is there's something beneath it, and everything that the characters want to say but they can't, or want to do but they can't, and it's like, yeah, it just really just lays itself out there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's I love this film quite a bit. I watched when I first watched this film, I had no idea what it was. It's just massive. I thought it was gonna be a religious film, like, or something like that.
Yeah, so did I.
And then and in a weird way, there's a double entendre to the title and stuff like that, especially near the end when you hear the choir. But you know, when
it all takes place in a church's room.
Yes,
you know that. Yeah, like they literally just rent a space, or they have a space for them in the back of a church.
Oh, by the way, spoilers
I
for Fallout
love the church lady.
Yeah.
What's all?
No, wait for a spoiler warning.
I know. What's it called? Yeah, we like to do that. Just give late spoiler warnings, indicative of the show.
By the way, I love the church lady.
Yeah,
I want to say that.
Yeah, she was nice.
She was really trying her best.
Yeah,
anxious church lady.
Yeah.
I would, if you're like, I would be anxious too. To be honest, I'm just
yeah.
like,
She's like, oh, is this okay?
Nobody ate the bagels. Nobody drank the coffee.
Yeah, of course.
I like how she like brings out all this food, and then like the lawyer lady, she's like, yeah, like, is this like enough? Whatever. She's like, I don't think they're gonna eat. Like this conversation is not gonna go there. And then she puts like the Kleenexes in the center of the table, and she's like, don't do that. That's creepy.
Yeah. They're trying to be as sensitive as possible, almost as if like it's showing that the director's trying to be as sensitive as like a meta way. Like, I'm also trying to be as sensitive as possible to this type of subject matter. Yeah, I remember just like I was very mesmerized in the first like 15-20 minutes. Just like, you know, the shots, like it was very, very well framed. You respected rule of thirds and all of that pretty well. And it kept me guessing on what this type of movie was. And once, you know, the big moment from Martha Plimpton's character Gail Perry was like, I'm asking because your son killed my son. I was like, oh, okay, so that's what this movie is. Yeah.
It was interesting, again, going into it blind, just trying to, like, you know, like uncover what this film could possibly be about. And as it's unfurling, you're like, okay, it's about their children passed, their child killed their other oh god.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh god, it's like a mass shooting, like Jesus Christ. It's rough. But
I was a little nervous for Ron and Blake, particularly Ron. And I was like, oh shit, like, because let's just say one of the people we know has spoiled himself on the entire film, and I've heard him talk to other people just like saying, oh, this is about mass shooting. And I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. So I was like, oh, and I told Ron, like, don't talk to that person. He'll spoil the film. Yeah, I was nervous that like that part of the film. I mean, you could still enjoy the film knowing what it is about.
Yeah, definitely.
But that it does add.
I guess so early on though. Like the second the parents, it was obvious that, I don't know, to me at least, once like both.
What?
It was obvious for me.
Once which part happened?
Oh, sorry. Once both parents are in the room, I could guess what was going on.
Yeah, it's like definitely
something happened, right? It's very evident that something has happened, and like I just appreciate this film so much because like it's a multi-perspective narrative, in one setting, which is really hard to do, and it's a very nuanced conversation they have where even like obviously the most detestable people in the world have a slightly skewed perspective on it, right? Not saying the parents are detestable, but like, you know, what their kid did. Yeah, it was absolutely detestable. But they do somehow bring out the humanity of their son, which is Hayden,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and
incredibly hard to do because again, it's tragic, but it's also like it brings up so many emotions, just anger and frustration, and from like anybody that you're just trying to figure out like how the hell could something like this happen, and they ask those questions and they don't exactly answer them, but that's not like really the point. And I love the way that it starts off too, because it's very clear that each character is there for a different purpose, right? The father is there. The father of the shooter is there. He clearly doesn't want to be there.
No, he already has like a flight scheduled later.
Yeah, he's like,
great performance, by the way, by him.
Yeah,
Reed Birney is fantastic. I was a big fan. He's also like won a Tony and shit.
And then Ann Down as Linda, the mother of the shooter, she's also there because it feels like she's trying to like basically
overcome her trauma and reconcile with a lot of these victims.
Yeah, and she's clearly trying to connect with all the victims' parents as much as possible to understand why, how terrible this is, because she's taking a lot of it onto herself. And Jason Isaacs' character, who I always loved Jason Isaac, by the way. I always felt like he was such an underrated actor.
Great actor.
He's clearly there for a purpose too, because he also both parents are there because they're demanding answers, but they're like demanding almost different kinds of answers.
Yeah. Both of them are like why this happened, but different type of whys.
Yeah, exactly. And you see like Jason Isaacs' character has like come at it from a political perspective at a certain point, but they don't linger on that too much, which I think was a very good choice, because ultimately it's like the politics, they were rough, and there's a time and place for that, but this isn't it. And it's not the point. It's not really the question that's the questions that need to be asked.
Even Gail's like, really, I don't want to talk about it now.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, why the fuck are we talking about politics? Because again, it's completely understandable, but also like, you understand why he's doing it. And then the mother, Gail, she's also coming at it wanting to have her own her own closure to this as well. Yeah. And it's hard, man. It's so hard.
Yeah, it's like what like the Perrys want to do is like they want to find answers. And for Jay particularly, he wants to vilify the parents. He wants affirmation that they say the kid is evil, and even he says, he's like, I want to see you guys in pain. Yeah, right. That's what they want, but what they actually need is probably to like forgive, as their time with their therapist,
to let go,
to let go and forgive, to overcome and just start starting their self healing process from this trauma.
And it sounds like the most it's one of the most basic human things to understand, but I think it's also just on a narrative and like story standpoint, it's so important to understand what the characters want and what they need, right? And they even say it in the movie at one point where she's like, I want this. Like, I want you guys to be like in pain and to be terrible people and to have you just deal with all of this terribleness. But at the same time, that's not what they need, and that's not what we need as people. We need to basically learn to just like
forgive and let go of this hatred and
exactly
what's it called, the vilification of other people. It's like that scene when Gail was just like, I can't live like this anymore. We're not ourselves. We're not sleeping.
Yeah,
it's like, I forgive you. Oh God, I was almost bawling in tears. But once again, I had to like slap my eyes together and be like, no, you cannot cry.
Yeah,
you gotta save that for Spider-Man. I just kidding, but it's
Philip, it's okay to feel emotions. that's okay. But no, I love that too, because it's like a lot of that the consuming hate and anger is what ultimately destroyed all of their lives,
Yes.
And really in the form of the son. I forget his name.
There's the Perry sons who died was Evan, and then the Linda and Richard was Hayden.
Yeah. Hayden's anger and sadness and everything that he was going through is ultimately what consumed everything, and having to let that go, because that's just what it fosters just more pain, and that's just it's important. Yeah,
and it's like, and for Richard, like his purpose was like he doesn't want to be there. He almost feels the obligation, as you talked about before. But also at the same time, I think he's there to like just defend his son's image, right? To revoke people's like hatred towards his son and calling him a villain or evil and stuff like that.
And I think his own as well.
It was one of my favorite performances. It was such a weird take.
Yeah,
but I liked it. And very understandable.
Yeah, and obviously this isn't like any kind of broad take on Shooter's parents or whatever, because again it's an incredibly complicated issue, but like the parents, it's like it's so easy to vilify them and do just automatically call them terrible, and and I'm sure there are many instances where they are, but it's like not necessarily the case. And I think that's what I like about Jason Isaacs' character, where he basically starts going into like, okay, if it's not you, then maybe it was just him as a person, on a physical
level.
Maybe
he was just born bad.
Like he's trying to basically do that whole nature versus nurture argument.
Yeah.
He's saying like either you guys fucked up or it's just within his nature evil, right? Yeah. But then as we could tell, at least from this film and the conversation that we have, that it's in between somewhat. It's like gray matter. And I think in most cases that's usually what happens. And
I mean, it's like it's the nature of like, again, these are very big topics to be having, but like to tackle here. But like even like when it comes to like serial killers and everything else, it is like 99% of the time a combination of both.
Yeah.
And that's like the reality of it. And there's so many different aspects that go into it. It's never just like a single defining event. It's usually like a web of influences that like unfortunately give result to these kind of people. And it's hard to say, and that's like why you understand the parents like frustrations is they want like a clear answer. They want to be able to point at something like this is it.
And exactly, and they refuse to give it. And I think that's very, very good on the director part and the writers, or who's the same guy in the case.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And what's it called? It's like, and all of them kind of go through different stages of grief, and all they come at a different perspective. Like Richard, he comes in a defensive denial part of like stage of grief, while Linda is like clearly looking for forgiveness or like a reconciliation. And for Gail, she's on the anger part of, she starts off angry, and while Perry goes into like, he's accepted it, he's like trying to move on to look for answers. But as the film goes on, they all kind of flip-flop the stages of grief or stages of positions that they do, and in a really effective way, right? Like Jay, like he goes into disbelief and he becomes the angry one, while Gail, she goes into becoming the more sympathetic, like she went to acceptance phase of grief, and then Linda, who's very looking for reconciliation and sympathy, she becomes offensive. She becomes on like Richard's side. Richard's only one of the few people that is kind of consistent throughout like his thing, even though at the end he has some level of acceptance, like we might have fucked up a bit, but
but he's like, I gotta get out of here.
But even by the end he's like, I can't be here anymore, like I gotta go,
I got a meeting.
Which I think is again,
it's realistic.
It's pretty realistic. It's hard to say, but no one's just gonna immediately change.
Maybe he had to go record his podcast.
I know. It's like also like it's interesting too. I was like, what do you guys think about this? Like, when they finally reconcile, out of the four, he's the only one that opens his eyes and says, and he's the one who ends their group prayer. And what do you guys think about that? Do you guys think that it shows like his inability to reconcile or accept what happened? He's still in the denial phase. He hasn't quite overcome his trauma, or is that just how his character?
I'd say so. He's not there yet. He's still kind of processing it.
I think it's a mix of both, because I think you put up those barriers and those walls to like really in an attempt to like protect yourself and protect the image of his son, like you said, and it's incredibly hard no matter what to be able to take those down. And I think he did lose some of them, but ultimately he's not completely there yet, and he's just not going to be probably for a long time, and maybe never.
It's only an hour and a half conversation.
It's like, I don't care who you are, but you don't just walk away out of a room just completely changed. It takes time and a lot of management, emotional growth to be able to get there. And someone like Linda, who I think she's already kind of had that growth and everything, but this helped her put over the edge again, where she's able to to come back and give her story and her relation to the parents, where she tells her about how she basically wished that her son had taken out his anger and frustrations on her.
Either as a way that he doesn't do it on other people, or that would have gave her a wake up call. Which, when I get into criticisms, I'm not saying it's a bad scene. But I'm kind of I think I want to kind of touch on that, whether we think that was necessary or not. What about some of the stories? What do you guys think about, because they all share stories about Hayden from Richard and Linda, and Evan from Jay and Gail. What were some of your favorites they shared? Honestly, for me, even though Hayden was a school shooter, the story about how he really liked snails and he wanted paper snails, and I think show kind of indicative of how he was actually a sensitive guy, but at the same time, there was something odd about him.
Yeah,
from the beginning. What about you guys? What were some of your favorite stories that they
You
shared?
stole mine.
Oh, perfect. Let's talk about it together. Let's talk about it together.
I was gonna say snails.
You and I, we think alike. You know what I mean? We're just like we're mothers from different tombs. Tombs. That's where babies are come from. Tombs.
Mothers
yeah.
from different tombs.
Yeah. That's not from wombs. Tombs. Yeah, that's how they come. It's like
okay.
that, yeah.
Anyway, let's not dissect Philip's psyche here.
Let's say, whoa. Let's not make a scene. Oh shit. Wait, never mind.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Blake, what did you like about that scene?
I just Philip stole my fucking. I like that it shows that he was sensitive, weird, and different, and probably disturbed a little bit. It was just a great little story. Hayden.
No, I agree. It really captures, the basic essence of that. Of like, we all knew the kid that was maybe a little quiet, maybe a little off, and it's something that they kind of develop as they grow on, and you kind of hope that it never goes that direction, but you never really know. And again, it always depends on their surroundings and basically their influences as they grow older. But I don't know. For me, it's hard to say exactly which story. I mean, I do like the story that the Perrys give about him playing soccer and him wanting to get more dirty and everything. It's just I think it was a nice touch to kind of just again give more like context to this kid, to be able to know him a little bit more on a personal level, because that it does make the impact feel more real of losing this person. It gives it more of like a flesh and blood kind of feel to this kid. Like he's not just some hypothetical child. Like
victim. It's very specific. Give me specific details.
This child, he had his own personality and types, and he had a certain light and whatever to him, and that's just it's hard for any parent to deal with that. And I'm not gonna lie, like I was thinking about it to myself. I was like, it's a little morbid, but I was thinking like, man, if I would have passed, like I wonder what my parents would have said. I wonder what story they would have told or something to like, to talk about me. And I'm like, it's probably something that I can't even think of or remember, but like, like I wonder what my life would have meant to them, like
my mom would have been like, oh, I watched Last Caution with Philip.
Yeah, it's one time I watched this really fucked up super sexual movie with my son.
Yeah. All right, what do you guys think about Fran Kranz directorial debut? Like, what do you think of his direction? How do you guys think he handled the subject matter? Do you think his focus more on the actors and like the cinematography was the right choice? Did his choice actually not be too obtrusive, or was he actually obtrusive?
I thought he like got some amazing performances out of his actors.
No, I agree. Yeah, like we said before, this is an actor's film. You can tell like through and through. I think the way he shot it a lot was like was really well done. It showed like kind of a level of sophistication, which is
especially for first time.
Yeah, which is very impressive for a first time director. But to be able to stage an entire film essentially inside of one room with only 4 characters is really tough. Like I know he talked about in interviews, like there's other films like this. Probably one of the biggest ones like 12 Angry Men. But even that's a little bit easier because there's 12 different characters that you can kind of
to just shoot around.
You can move around. It's a larger room. You can kind of like hit different perspectives and everything. But just being restricted to 4 characters, that's very tough. And in a essentially very bland room too.
Yeah,
like
purposely so. It's almost like
like it kind of strips everything away, draws your focus just in on these 4 characters, and the performances and the way he shoots it, and especially the blocking as all the characters move throughout the room. They stand up. They need those moments of like just to break the tension, to like walk away, grabs a water, sits down in the chair in the corner.
Exactly. Yeah.
Each character kind of comes in and out of the conversation as their character, I think, would, and it moves to different spaces. And I think it's a great job, dude.
Yeah, I think he did a fantastic job with pulling the performances, with pacing. and also
Yeah.
with blocking. I think those were his 3 biggest strengths. Cinematography, for the most part, especially with the first 20 minutes or so, just holding on those wide shots or establishing shots to get an idea of the setting, I think were fantastic. But I think, for me, I think a couple of my minor quibbles we're getting into criticisms was, though actually one last positive, the music, the fact there's almost no score, I think is a positive. I think that would have detracted it from it quite a bit. So good on his part, but the editing and it's not necessarily a negative or so, but there are a couple of quibbles that I have. The editing and the cinematography. First, let me ask, because like couple moments, I guess to break up tension or so, they fade to black or they cut away to the ribbon tied into like the middle of the road, and that's the wind is blowing, the wind's not blowing. First, what do you guys think about what is Fran Kranz trying to say about that? Why is he cutting that away? And do you guys think it was the right choice?
I was thinking about it, and I was like, I was trying to figure it out myself too as I was watching it. I'm like, what is he trying to show here or whatever? And then ultimately how it ends with like the lights turning on and everything. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like a dummy because I can't figure it out. I was like, I don't know exactly what he's trying to say.
There's like God.
There's like
God. I thought I was dumb.
There's a couple of different interpretations. Like I think either it's like because he when the wind stops blowing, he's like when my son died. So because when he was looking at it earlier, the wind is blowing. He's reminiscing about his son.
Yeah, and
Noma I guess is reflecting like his son dying, and when he's come back, it's like hope is alive or something like that. They're on the healing process.
I see.
But and then the other interpretation is just like I guess the general mood. I prefer the son interpretation thing.
Yeah, no, that definitely feels more right. Like and also like the way that they would cut to it. I know you weren't a fan of it, but like I guess it's a mixed bag, right? Because sometimes when like when the conversation is getting like more heated and more intense, they would cut away to it, and it felt almost like a relief. And it's like I don't know if necessarily that was a good or a bad thing. I feel like it would have been more bold to not cut away and just stay in that room and just like you stay in these emotions the whole time rather than giving us that relief.
Because they never got it probably.
In the room they don't. Yeah, it's like that's why like even Jason Isaac's character is like I can't breathe in this room, and he walks away and everything. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. It's like part of me like as an audience member, like I'm almost glad they cut away because I'm just like, oh, thank God. Like I can take a breath as well. Like oof, like all right, and then let's go back into it. But yeah, and maybe it would have been a better choice not to. But
what about you, Blake? What do you think about them cutting away to that, doing cutaways at all?
My biggest problem was I didn't know what the fuck it meant. I'm all about film analysis. I love breaking shit down. But the entire movie, I was just like, I don't know what it means. I don't know what the point is. I didn't love it personally.
Maybe if we had more time, because I mean, to be fair, me and Blake, we both watched this film last night.
Yeah, I know.
So, I know.
I'll remain silent.
I know. It's on us. We could have probably watched it earlier, but yeah, I think maybe if we had more time to reflect on it and stuff, we could have probably, like
enjoyed it more.
Yeah, or just at least
interpreted it more.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thought about this is definitely a movie you should sit on.
Yeah, sit on, and then honestly, I wouldn't have mind like revisiting it and stuff as well, just to kind of get more out of it, because there's a lot of nuances as it's like building up and everything, and of course with the climax and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot to interpret.
Yes, I think for me, at first I didn't mind it too much because it was my first time watching, and I was thinking, but on repeat viewings, I come to really not like the fact that he did it, and it kind of screams. That's the only time I felt like there's 2 points actually, but it kind of the cutaways scream first time director, because I feel like if it was any more like an experienced director or so, particularly an experienced art house director, they would have probably just left it in there and just maybe cut to a wide, right? That's another way to do a breathing shot, and just hold on that shot for a little bit and just see how the characters are dealing with the aftermath or so, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's almost as if like I don't know, he doesn't trust the audience, or to just stay with the film as they're going in or whatever, or just like it's I think it's a cheap way to give breathing space to breathing space. And I felt like this wasn't the film that like it felt like, because they were going bold in so many other different ways, that I felt like they should have went bold with that too.
Perhaps, yeah, because I'm thinking like other films that are similar to this, the one that just one of my favorite films, 12 Angry Men.
Yeah.
They do have a similar thing where they basically just all the characters kind of take a break and then some go to the bathroom, and then they cut into the bathroom. So it's like the only time you have that relief.
And that's natural though, because like
it's an extension of the space. You know, it's like, okay, they go into the bathroom, they had their little side conversations here and there, and that's kind of it. But it still stays within that space essentially.
Yeah.
You know, with these characters and everything. So yeah, maybe they could have done something similar, but yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know.
Have you guys ever seen Hunger by any chance by Steve McQueen? He did 12. He did Shame and
And
Just Like,
Shame.
Yeah. No, I have not seen that. No.
I've not seen Hunger, no.
that one had
Sadly.
by the way, I think almost like a 25-minute conversation or 24 minutes. And I think like 70% of that is just in one take, side profile.
Wow.
And in that film, I feel like not necessarily like this whole film should have been like that, but in the sense that I think that's the boldness of that choice to do it that way. And he only cuts to shot, reverse shot, and singles at very specific dialogue moments when the conversation takes a turn.
Yeah.
I think it needed something like that. And they never cut away to anything outside of their conversation.
Yeah.
And I think it might have needed something like that for me. But like I said, this is his first directorial debut.
Yeah.
To be fair, that's also Steve McQueen's directorial debut. That guy's just like, he's just wild. He doesn't give a fuck. He's like, his whole philosophy is like, I don't like the fact that people just want to let me throw the camera up in the air and record. I'm like, well, okay. Because you know, destroyed. That guy's wild. I love him. Check out his stuff on Amazon.
Can you do that like at the Cal State Fullerton or something? Like he was throwing the camera up as a student or something?
Or not Cal State Fullerton, but he's
Oh,
like
no,
from
no.
the UK. But
Yeah,
yeah.
he's British.
I think that's one of the. Yeah, he did say he did damage the camera on purpose to see what type of shot he'll get. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then
Yeah, Steve McQueen is great.
he's cool. Dude, he has. Oh gosh, you guys haven't seen Widows, right? Okay, well,
No,
well,
I think he's just
I've
one of those
seen, I've
dudes.
seen Widows.
I've seen. You know that one shot of like he's just holding on the shot of, and it's just like over the car is driving. You just hear audio.
That is my favorite shot of that movie, by the way.
Yeah.
I fucking love that scene.
What's it called? Yeah, he is. I think
Anyway.
something like that would have been nice. But and another thing I didn't enjoy is that most of this was on sticks. And I kind of was like thinking like, are they gonna go to Steadicam or handheld? I hope they don't, because that's like the super like when
Yeah.
that's the most obvious thing you could do to show that things are a little bit unstable and stuff like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
avoid that, please. Just use something more creative and I think and bold, right? As we said before.
Mm-hmm.
But when after Jason or during Jason Isaacs' big thing where he discusses the details of his son's death, which is very heartbreaking. I'm gonna be sad that Jared Leto gets a nomination over Jason Isaacs. Please,
God, seriously.
It's
so sad. Not good,
my name is Paolo. No respects. I'm not gonna do it. But and the camera, like it was like because during very slow zooms on sticks and stuff like that. But when they went to handheld, I was like, oh gosh, this is just like screaming in my face. It's unstable and stuff like that. And I'm kind of like, bro, you were doing so well with, the subtlety of your, framing and blocking and stuff like that. But that's me. What do you guys think about that?
No,
I was fine with it. I actually liked it.
I think it's just like it.
It's an obvious choice.
Yeah, it is a bit of an
Yeah,
obvious choice.
But it works.
That's true. I
in
think
my
it is.
opinion.
It is effective. Maybe with like again some more filmmaking maturity and like time, he would have definitely done something different. Because like I think I do like the concept of shooting this like a stage play or something, or something where it's just it takes its time more, or like again like those steadier shots and everything. I understand like why he wouldn't. Again, it's incredibly hard to do, and especially with an emotional like heavy film like this where each actor is required to like basically wear their hearts on their sleeves the entire time. It's rough, and to shoot it all in one take like again and again and again, it's like it can be incredibly draining for everyone involved. So I understand why he wouldn't do it, but maybe something some more bold choices would have been good. But I think still we can't all be prodigies like Steve McQueen.
It's like I want to hit the camera. I see what you're trying to get. Yeah.
But I think it's a great
Like,
first chance.
Yeah.
I would still say for a debut, it's great.
Yeah,
no,
absolutely. Yeah.
And for like and also like Steve McQueen had film school and shot short films. Fran Kranz did a little bit, but this guy's he's going in this cold.
Yeah.
I think for like him and meganpark, honestly, really impressive.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not even gonna ask the question. I was gonna attempt it like, who do you think did better job? Because I just feel like they're very different.
Yeah, it's completely different.
All right, let's.
It's too hard to compare.
Do you guys have any final wrap up thoughts, Mass, or do you want to get to final ratings?
No, I think we can get our final ratings. I'll
Yeah,
express.
final
there.
ratings.
Yeah.
So what's it called? For Fallout, for me, I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. It's what's it called? I sit on it for a bit. I think a couple of things like stuff like mainly the I don't know why it didn't bother me, but I just didn't like it as much. But that one scene with the dad fuck this place and stuff, and it's like felt like a different movie. It kind of brought it down a little notch, and then overall just it was great though. So premium streaming for me, and I think most people will be seeing a premium streaming.
Yeah.
What about you guys for Fallout?
I agree. Premium streaming. It was great, but I didn't love it, but I thought it was good, especially for a debut. Yeah, premium streaming.
Yeah, I think. To echo you guys too. I think premium streaming as well. I think for her as an actress moving into becoming a director and writer, it's extremely commendable. She did a great job.
I want to see more from her.
Yeah, I would love to see more from her. I want to see where she takes it or her career from here. I love Jenna Ortega a lot. I think she was my favorite part of the new Scream film, and she's my favorite part in this film. So I would love to see whatever she does next too. So yeah, premium streaming.
For Mass, I really love this film. Honestly, I'll say this for screenplay wise, just screenplay alone, probably like in the museum. Like I think it's like fucking fantastic screenplay, and acting wise in the museum. But overall, with my minor quibbles and stuff like that, and also I think we didn't really touch on this as much, but I know the final story from Ann Dowd's character, Linda. Yeah, which I really like. I'm struggling with this. I can't say it's a negative because I really like the story, but at the same time, like. The film almost could have ended there and it almost puts a bow on something that doesn't have a bow, but it's not. But the scene was powerful enough that I kind of forgave it. Yeah. So it kind of those things kind of notch it down for me. But honestly, it's on the shelf. I would love to own this. Love to see this. Love to see the BTS and everything.
Yeah, I agree. As far as blocking and acting and writing, this is the kind of film that I would love to dissect and revisit. Just really for. Selfish purposes, but also because I think it's so well done. So yeah, I'm gonna put it on the shelf as well. Yeah, definitely something I'd want to own. All the performances, fantastic. I think fantastic debut for Franz. And I can't wait to see what he does as well too. Like I think just as a writer, like I would want to see where he goes with this, and then and if he's gonna direct some other stuff too, I'm down.
You cowards! Oscars nominate this film.
I'm also premium streaming for this one. Once again, just fantastic debut. Also looking forward to this Friends guy's next project.
Yeah, go Fran.
Go Fran. You guys think this film, what's it called, will get some awards recognition? Mass for
probably not.
Honestly, I think most likely it'll get original screenplay or screenplay nomination. And maybe Ann Down because she gets nominated a lot, or maybe Martha Plimpton because she's got nominated before too. But I think pretty much any of them could easily get a nomination, and I think deserve one. But we'll see.
Not as good as
not as good as fucking Jared Leto. Sorry.
Yeah. It's still or Bradley. Dude, Bradley Cooper got nominated for a SAG for Licorice Pizza for his 2 seconds role over Jason Isaacs and Reed Birney.
That's so ridiculous. Yes, he was a fun part of the movie. Yes, I enjoyed him a lot. Yeah. But does he deserve?
He's got 5 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, does he deserve a fucking Oscar? Or a SAG? Nah.
Over or over Jason Isaacs?
Yeah, Jason
Isaacs. Who did
Isaac.
Performance of his career. Even fucking Reed Birney, but whatever.
Yeah.
No, rant over. All right, thank you guys. Fuck the Oscars for not.
Sorry for the audio, everyone.
Yeah, next week we'll be all be in the same room and we'll be able to get through this. We've just been dealing with some issues here and there.
Yeah.
So
it's a pandemic, you guys. What do you expect?
This is just the reality of the world we live in right now.
All right. Thank you guys for another episode of Half a Clue movie review.
Yeah, if you liked our episode and you want to see more of us, hit the subscribe. Or even if you don't like our episode, fuck you, but subscribe.
Not literally, but yeah. Not literally fuck you, but yeah. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.